no, you will disappear, no problem. Oh, thank you. That's nice. 1114. Yeah, sure, no problem. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Givaradhari Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamunatera Vanachari Yamunatera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nastabheja Bhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevyam Bhagavat Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 1, questions by the sages, text 14. One 14. We wait till it's on the board. Okay. So, Apana samsritim koram Yanama Vishasurinan Tata Satyo Vimucheta Yat Bibheti Svayam Vayam Apana Samsritim Koram Yanama vivasukrinam. Tata satya vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam vayam. Apana samsritim kuram. Yanama vivasukrinan. Tata satyo vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam vayam. Someone wants to repeat, please. Apana samsritam khuram. Yanama vishvatokinam. Tata satyo vimuccheta. Ya bibheti svayam vayam. Apana samsritim goram. Yanama vivasukrinan. Tata satyo vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam bhayam. Apana samsritim goram. Yanama vivasukrinam. Tata satyo vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam vayam. Apana samsritam goram. Yanama vishvatokinam. Tata satyo vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam bhayam. Apana samsritim goram. Yanama vivasukrinan. Ta satyo vimuccheta. Yad bibheti svayam vayam. Okay, word for word translation. Apana. Being entangled. Samsritim. In the hurdle of birth and death. Goram. Too complicated. Yat. What? Nama. The absolute name. Vishvasa. Unconsciously. Yrinan. Chanting. Tata. From that. Satya. At once. Vimuccheta. Gets freedom. Yat. That which. Bibheti. Fears. Svayam. Personally. Bhayam. Fear itself. Translation and purport by Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Please repeat. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name of Krishna, which is feared by fear personified. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Vasudev, or Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the supreme controller of everything. There is no one in creation who is not afraid of the rage of the Almighty. Great asuras like Ravan, Hiranyakasipu, Kamsa, and others who were very powerful living entities, were all killed by the personality of Godhead. And Almighty Vasudeva has empowered his name with the powers of his personal self. Everything is related to him, and everything has its identity in him. It is stated herein that the name of Krishna is feared even by fear personified. This indicates that the name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Therefore, the name of Krishna is as powerful as Lord Krishna himself. There is no difference at all. Anyone, therefore, can take advantage of the holy names of Lord Krishna even in the midst of greatest dangers. The transcendental name of Krishna, even though uttered unconsciously or by force or of circumstances, can help one obtain freedom from the hurdle of birth and death. I read the verse once again. Apana samsritim goram yanama vishvasurinan tata sadyo vimocheta yat bibheti svayambayam. Living beings who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately, even by unconsciously chanting the holy name, which is feared by fear personified. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnansala Shalakaya Chakshurmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chitchetayamanopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamrupkadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamalam Shiyum Vaishnavam Sa Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Saitam Se Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivshishakam Vitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvare Vrishabhane Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripi Vancha Kalptrabhisha Kripa Sinvevisha Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine, Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Paskachaya Desatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So this verse is very encouraging, even unconsciously chanting the holy name. What does it mean? Unconsciously. That when we chant the holy name, we are supposed to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. That hearing, chanting, hearing, and remembering Krishna. But many times that last part is not really there. Lips are moving, hearing, but remembering Krishna, that's something else. That internal part does not manifest many times, because that's when you chant Hare Krishna, it's like declaring war with the illusory energy. And Maya is going to divert your attention. Therefore, we must chant in the mode of goodness or with love, even better with love. Because yes, we can chant in Lord Kapila Dev speaks about performing devotional service in the modes of nature. You can do it in the mode of nature, or it can be transcendental. So it's not that you chant the holy name, you immediately transcend the modes of nature. No, your consciousness must be there. That we can chant in different modes. You can chant in passion. In passion, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram. That's in the mode of passion. In the mode of ignorance, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And in the mode of goodness, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Life is good. But chanting in the mode of in transcendental is putting all your love in it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Put your love in it. And that's conscious chanting. That's conscious chanting. But mostly we don't come to the conscious part, it's unconscious. The mind does something else. But here said, even when you chant unconsciously, that you are freed from the message of birth and death. And we see in the story of Ajamil, we will hear that in the 6th canto, who had led, although he was a Brahmin in his youth, he led a very sinful life. But at the end of his life, when he was going to leave his body, then he was calling his son Narayan, the holy name of Krishna, Narayan. He didn't intend to consciously address the Supreme Lord. He was calling his son, Narayan. And still he was freed from all the reactions. When the Yamadutas came, the Vishnudutas said, no, you cannot take him. He is free from sin just by chanting one holy name unconsciously. But there is something more to that. It's unconscious. He chanted unconsciously, but he did not commit one of the 10 offenses. And therefore is chanting Haridas Thakur. It was Namabhas. Namabhas, you get a reflection of the power of the holy name. So that's the point. In the purport it said, Krishna's holy name is all-powerful. Lord Chaitanya said, oh my Lord, you have invested all your spiritual powers in this holy name. And holy name is Krishna, so it's so powerful. But the power will not manifest to us unless we overcome these offenses. And why is that? Yeah, if you are not believing in the power of the holy name, you think it's imagination, it's an exaggeration. Or you give some interpretation, or you think, yeah, okay, chanting the holy name, I become free from my sinful reactions, so I can perform sinful actions, and then I chant, and everything is okay. These are offenses. And then the power of the holy name will not manifest. So we hear also further in this first canto, because Narada Muni will speak to his disciple Vyasadeva and will tell him the story of his previous life, how he was chanting the holy name and how he got liberation. So he was also chanting, but by the power of the chanting, gradually our heart becomes purified. This mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra is so powerful that it destroys all your karma. We cannot imagine that the most powerful spiritual power manifested, that in our heart, just when we chant His holy name, but when we chant the holy name, yes, the medicine will act. It is a medicine. But of course the attention must be there and the absorption that this chanting of this holy name, we need a proper attitude, inner attitude to chant them. And what is this inner proper attitude? Of course, Lord Chaitanya said, Trinata Pisnitsne, Taroa Visaisne, Amana Manadina Kirtanya Sadari. You should be more humble than a tree, more humble than grass, more tolerant than a tree. You should be devoid of all prestige and be ready to get all honor to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant holy name constantly. So that's one part. And then Lord Chaitanya said, Na danam, na janam, na sundarim, kavatavashri sakamai. So I do not want any followers, beautiful women, or wealth. I just want your causeless mercy. So these are the proper inner attitudes we need to cultivate so that this power of this holy name will manifest in our heart and destroy all our anarthas, unwanted things. So in the purport, of course, Srila Prabhupada writes, Vasudeva Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the supreme controller of everything. Why is that so important? Haridas Thakur says this, to chant the holy name properly, you must be situated in Sambandha Jnana, knowing your relationship with Krishna. And to know your relationship with Krishna starts with knowing who we are. Knowing who we are. And you can only know who we are if we know who Krishna is. And if we know who Krishna is, then we know we are a part and parcel of Krishna. And we are the servant of Krishna. So that's Sambandha Jnana. Knowledge about our relationship with Krishna. We must know that I'm not Krishna. I'm the servant. I'm Gopi Bhartu Kamana Udas and Udas and Udas. Lord Chaitanya said we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the lover of the gopis. The lover of the gopis is not a name for Krishna. But if that's all too complicated for you, then I give you the words of my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Someone asked him, what does it mean, chanting Hare Krishna? He replied, saying to Krishna, I love you. Give your love to Krishna. And that will help us to chant His holy names in the correct mood. That simple thing, give your love to Krishna. Because, yes, we have to be attentive while chanting. You chant the holy name, and Krishna says in the 6th chapter, if your mind wanders, you have yato yata nishalati, you have to bring it back, the mind always. So we chant, and with great force we try to bring back the mind always to the holy name. It wanders, you bring it back. Always, it's a whole fight, and it's difficult, and we are struggling. But instead of that struggling, if you try to give your love to Krishna, it goes very easy. It will be automatically controlled. So that's important to consider. It's not a fight with our mind. No, we have to fill our mind with love for Krishna, with love, and then it will be easily controlled. Because, of course, hearing, glorifying, and remembering Lord Krishna. So that is remembering Lord Krishna. The conclusion of the Gita is manmana. One must remember Krishna. So that's the goal, always to remember Krishna and never forget Him. This is the main rule in Krishna consciousness. Always think of Krishna and never forget Him. That includes also hearing about Krishna. Hearing from the Bhagavatam about Krishna every day. Because if we hear about Krishna, that will help us to come in the right mood as a servant of Krishna. It helps to come in this proper sambandha jnana and overcome the offenses against the holy name. So the chanting and the hearing the Bhagavatam goes together. Therefore we read every morning from the Bhagavatam, very important. That will help us to build or rebuild or reawaken our relationship with Krishna. Because our relationship with Krishna is already there. We must only practice it. We cannot cut our relationship with Krishna. That's why we are here in this material world. We have connected our consciousness from Krishna. And that's why we are here. We have disconnected our consciousness. But the Bhagavad Gita helps us to reconnect, to reawaken. And that is, Srila Prabhupada said, that this is not an artificial imposition on the mind. No, it is natural. It is the only thing that will give the soul satisfaction. Yayatma shrupashidati. The Atma, the soul, will be very satisfied if we perform this devotional service to Krishna. Savaipum saprodharmo yato bhaktiradoksya ahait kapatiyaya yayatma shrupashidati. So performing this devotional service to adokshaya. Krishna is not visible to our senses. He is outside the scope of our senses. We cannot understand Krishna with our brains. Our brains is matter. Understanding Krishna is done through the heart. In the heart is the soul. And through the soul you get divya gyan. We sing every morning to Srila Prabhupada, Divya Gyan Rite Pokasito. By the mercy of the spiritual master, this Divya Gyan, this divine realization, is manifested to the heart. but factually, it's by the mercy of the spiritual master that Krishna gives the Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. He gives this realization to the heart that Tesham Evanakampatam Amaghyana Chamtama Nasajamatma Bhavasta Jnana Dipena Bhashvata. That with the torch of knowledge, Krishna within the heart burns away all our misconceptions and establishes us in pure transcendental knowledge. So this knowledge is mystical. It comes to the heart in the form of realizations. That we start to realize what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, verses 8 to 12, you have 20 items of knowledge. These are realizations that appear in our heart when we are chanting the holy name with the proper attitude, when we hear about Krishna. But the first item there is amanitvam, is humility. Humility. But the most important of the 20 items there is accepting a spiritual master and under his direction perform devotional service. That's the second. Devotional service is one of the items. And accepting a bona fide spiritual master. If we perform devotional service, if we get the seed of bhakti from the spiritual master, we water it with chanting and hearing Bhagavatam and the holy name, then gradually the seed will turn into a small plant and grow further and further, that in our devotional awareness will increase day after day after day. So the holy name is very potent, but everything related to Krishna is very potent. Hearing this Bhagavatam is very potent. Narada Muni will confirm that in 177. He said, just by giving oral reception to this literature, lamentation, fear, and anger will all... No, it's lamentation, illusion, and fear will vanquish very quickly. And we become fearless. Srila Prabhupada speaks about fearless. Why are we fearful? Because we identify with the body. With the body, everything can go wrong. Every moment. We cannot imagine that... and many devotees have experienced that already. They are experienced in what the body can do to us every moment. That's so... But if we identify with the body, then it's fearful that our existence becomes full of fear. Because when the body ends, we think, I will be finished. But that's not a point. No, we are complicated. We are entangled in this complicated mesh of birth and death. Krishna says, you take birth, death is sure. And one who dies, birth is sure. So that's quite clear. We went to so many births and deaths that, and we were always fearful, identify with the body in whatever species. But the body does not die. The body dies, but the soul, it was never born, never dies, always exists. So if we live in the body, then we become fearful. What does it mean, identifying with the body? What are the causes? Why do I identify with the body, not with the soul? Because the cause is I've forgotten Krishna. When I forget Krishna, I forget my position as a servant. And then I identify with the body. And we think this body is my source of pleasure. And we try to get pleasure through all these senses from things in this world. And therefore, we develop raga and vesha, attachment and aversion. I like this, I don't like that. And people think like that. What feels good, let me do. That's good for the body, for the subtle body, for the mind. And what gives me pain, I don't want that. And that attachment and aversion makes you identify with the body. And where does this attachment and aversion come from? Lust. Krishna says the enemy number one is lust. Lust covers our intelligence, our spiritual intelligence. Avitam jnanam etina jnana anitya varina. En kamerupena kantya dushprana nalenasha. And you want to enjoy the body more and more. So people live the whole life for their body, and then their body dies. It's all for nothing. And they are not aware who they are. So we should not be like that. Identify with the identify with the soul, and stop your identification with the body. How do you do that? Krishna's first instruction in Bhagavad Gita is tolerate. Deinosmin chatate kamram chavnam charatatat and derantara praptirtios tatranamuyati. Your body changes, Arjuna, from boyhood to youth to old age and so on, and then it dies. You have to tolerate these changes. Matras, we have to tolerate these changes. One is tolerating the heat, another one is tolerating the cold. So by that we must tolerate this happiness and distress of this body. This happiness and distress. This happiness is so short. It's not really happiness. How long does it take to eat a pizza? 20 minutes? Some are much quicker, 20 minutes. And then after that, then the pain in the stomach is gone, the hunger. It's gone. And I feel happy, and that's my happiness. That's the happiness of the animals. They have the same thing. Are you living for that? No, there is a higher happiness. There is an ananda of the soul. And that's love for Krishna. We can only attain this ananda, this love for Krishna, if we stop this lower taste. And when you get this higher taste, you are not interested anymore in the lower. You forget about it. So this holy name is so powerful. If we chant it in the proper attitude, it will purify our heart. And if you chant with the proper attitude, you will already feel satisfied, more satisfied than any materialist. Although the experience of Ananda may not be there yet. This is the power of love for Krishna. I would say it's just the power of just trying to give your love to Krishna through this power. Krishna is so merciful. It gives you immediately this satisfaction. And Jaldi, you will start to see Krishna in your life, everywhere. Inside, outside. Krishna is in your heart, but he's also outside your heart. And Krishna will start to organize your life that you can learn a lesson, the lessons we have to learn to go back to the spiritual world. And that will be the topic of my Sunday feast lecture today. I will speak on that this afternoon. So, this is powerful, this holy name. This is the beginning of the Bhagavatam. In the first verse, Krishna had defined the absolute truth. Janmadi asyatam vayati tarates abhihyas farat. Krishna is the source of everything, is all-knowing, all-powerful. And he manifested the knowledge about Krishna, the absolute truth, tene brahmaridaya adkave, to his heart. In the second verse, Krishna has established what's pure religion, and pure religion is experienced by those who are pure in heart. And it's free from cheating religion, which has materialistic purposes. In the third verse he said, this knowledge becomes so sweet because it contains this fruit of love, which has come down to the Guru Parampara. But then Krishna, Sutta Goswami has described the unfortunate situation of everyone in this age. Prajnalpayusasya vyakala vasminchurechana mandasamana matayamanda bhaka upadata. In this age, everyone is upadata, disturbed, short-sighted. They see only the moment of enjoyment. That they are lazy in terms of spiritual advancement. They are not lazy in terms of material advancement, very good, but lazy in terms of spiritual advancement, not wanting to make any tapasya or austerity to advance in spiritual life. But then Krishna, Sutta Goswami says here, the holy name, that's the solution, even for the lazy people of Kali Yuga. You don't have to go to the Himalayas to do Ashtanga Yoga, and it's too difficult for us. You can just chant His holy name even unconsciously. So from the moment you start to chant His holy names on a regular basis, your material life is finished. It's just a question of time. That's for sure. And that counts for everyone here. That's the good news. The bad news is it doesn't happen immediately. You have to be patient and endeavor with sincerity and learn from the Bhagavatam how to practice devotional service, how to chant His holy names, how to become a Mahatma. Mahatmanats tu mam parta devim pragati ashrita. The Mahatma is one who connects with the divine energy, connecting with the divine energy, connecting. So, this is an iPhone, it's connected with the internet, but it's not connected with the internet. What's the use of all the apps? The same with us. If we do not connect our consciousness with Krishna, our life is useless. We remain in the meshes of birth and death. But we can change that easily. And the beginning is this chanting of the holy name with faith. And then associate with devotees. Practice 5 most potent items of devotional service. Chanting, hearing the Bhagavatam, worshipping the deity, and associating with devotees, and visiting a temple. And today we do all of them, because we have together chanted the holy name. We have done deity worship by offering our respect to the deities. We are associating with the devotees. We are hearing the Bhagavatam. And we are in a holy place. All 5 we did this morning. So, and that's the process. we continue that day after day, our life will be very auspicious. In due times, we will go back to Godhead. Thank you. Are there any questions? Krishna. Yes? We have different experience. I'm traveling constantly. It's very troublesome for the body. You get older. This body is 63 and I don't know how long it goes. It will last. It's sure it's troublesome. But what do we do when we are in a troublesome situation? We call out to Krishna for help. The chanting becomes a crying to Krishna for help. So my chanting is mostly better when I travel. Because it's so troublesome. You have to take shelter of Krishna and forget all these troubles and try to go on. So that's using. We have to learn to use difficult situations, in difficult situations, to take shelter of Krishna. That then tell Krishna, I try my best, it's up to you. Engage me as you desire. Do you want me, this body, to suffer or not? I do it out of love for you. And that's surrender. So that mood of surrender must be there. And if you have that mood of surrender, you will see in your life things will happen which are beyond your imagination. 35 years ago, when I started to chant Hare Krishna, it was beyond my imagination that I would travel all over the world and preach Krishna consciousness. It was completely not, so amazing things happen. That when you say always Krishna consciousness is an adventure. And Krishna will make sure that it is not an adventure. It's an experience outside of the extraordinary. But if you surrender to it, you become purified. And all these attachments and aversions go. And even in the most difficult situations, you remain peaceful. That's the goal. Yeah. I understand, and not everyone has yet attained that, but we are on the way to that. And on the way, there are the waves in the ocean, up and down, and one day is not the other. But it's going up and down, but gradually you go up. And that sometimes Krishna lets you go down, really go down, to remember how it was when you were up. And you learn from that. Does that help? Good. Good, something else? Good. Thank you very much. Yeah, sure. Okay. No. The point here is that's only one part. One part, tolerating. But tolerating alone is not very helpful. You must engage yourself as a spirit soul You must engage your body, mind, and senses all in the service of Krishna. Body, mind means engaging your emotions in the service of Krishna. You have to learn that art. And that is acting as a soul, using everything you have. What Krishna gives you is his energy, and we use it in his service. So that's very important, that we have to act as a soul. Iyayasya, yeah. Iyayasya redasye karmanamanasagari nikalasya pavasya jiva mukta sochate. There's a verse of Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada quotes that many times. It says, acting on the liberated platform means using your body, mind and words always in the service of Krishna. Sannyasi is a danda. I could not bring it. It's too difficult on the airplane and so on. That a danda for a sannyasi has 3 sticks inside. And the sannyasi hold this danda, especially in the beginning of his sannyas, that to remind him, I have to use my body, mind and senses always in the service of Krishna. And we have to learn to do that 24 hours. And then you become free from the bodily concept, because your consciousness is not in the body. Your consciousness is fixed on Krishna and your identity as servant. That's the idea. Does that help?
I think so. If I can say back, that it's basically controlling and harnessing emotion for Krishna. That's the tolerance.
And the tolerance is not engaging, not becoming a slave of the urges of the senses, body, mind and senses. Vacho vegam manaskroda vegam jiva vegam udarapasta vegam eta vegam surface eta diram. One can control the urges of the mind, the body, the senses, and he can make disciples all over the world. So that's the problem. We are a servant of Krishna, but all these senses, they are urging us to serve them. We become a servant of the mind and the senses, become a servant of our attachment and aversions. And that's very strong. We cannot just give that up. So there are 2 things to do. The first thing I said, yes, we are using always body, mind and senses in the service of Krishna. Then we don't have time for the slavery of the mind and the senses. The senses and the mind are already occupied, they are busy. Like a child. A child is doing things. If a child has no occupation, it will do mischief. But if the parents nicely engage the child, it will be playing nicely and not doing mischief. So that's the first thing. Always engage yourself. But there are still the urges to act according to our material condition, nature. Therefore, because that is strong, we must use these likes and dislikes, learn to use them in the service of Krishna. And that is called, Srila Prabhupada called that the dovetailing technique. In carpentry you have 2 pieces of wood. One piece comes something out and the other are holes, and it fits perfectly in each other. So our capabilities, we should use them in the service of Krishna. Our likes and dislikes, use them in the service of, not a sinful one, but we can use them in Krishna's service. And that's something very essential of the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. That this devotee a devotee asks Srila Prabhupada, I want to serve you. Ask me whatever you want, I will do it. And Prabhupada said, his reply was, what do you like to do for Krishna? And the devotee said, but Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. Just tell me what to do. I will do it. And Srila Prabhupada became grave and said, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do for Krishna? And the devotee said to Prabhupada, I want to make unbreakable mridangas. And Srila Prabhupada said, do that for Krishna. And he made this first unbreakable fiberglass mridangas, which we have still all in our movement all over the world now. So that is the point. We have to use our capabilities in the service of Krishna. And for this we need a spiritual master. That's the function of a spiritual master. He gives the knowledge to his disciple, but he instructs his disciple according to his nature. And use his nature in Krishna's service. And if you do that, what will be the result? We will become freed from our attachment and aversion by doing that. And when not immediately, that takes a few years, but you will become purified gradually. And then you come to the point that you can do anything for Krishna. But then we are liberated from this attachment and aversion. But if you are not liberated, you must use your conditioned nature in the service of Krishna. Very important. That is the main technique of Karma Yoga, which is explained in Bhagavad Gita. And we must apply that. And what is my nature? You know it. What you like, what you don't like. What you are good in, what you are less good in. You can see it in your astrological chart. I have Jupiter and Saturn in Sagittarius. Means Jupiter in his own house means Brahminical knowledge, spiritual knowledge. That teacher. And I have Mercurius in his own house, good intelligence. So I use my intelligence to teach, but Saturn is there. Means renunciation. I teach renunciation. The real renunciation is Krishna consciousness. So that's my nature. I'm a teacher and I'm teaching renunciation, Krishna consciousness. I use my intelligence for that. That's my nature and that's what I'm doing. And I feel good in that. Don't me ask to do many other things that will be not so good in. That although there are other things I like to do in Krishna consciousness also, but we have to see for each other what are we good in Krishna consciousness and do that for Krishna. Does that help? Good. Thank you very much. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.